Local government actually, or local enterprises are reacting very positively to the tax cut plan indeed. And you also mentioned just now in our interview that it will make government to spend money wisely because it will get less fiscal revenue due to the tax reduction plan, and will stimulate the small and medium-sized enterprises because they have more money in their pocket. Healthier way to go, indeed. But does that mean it's a perfect plan? Are we going to see any challenges?
Oh, of course, we're going to have a lot of challenges for sure, and we're going to break down the problems into two sessions. One is for the enterprise and the other for the family sessions. For the enterprises, is absolutely a very perfect news, because as small and medium-sized enterprises, they're always facing the burden of tax burdens or a lot of fees. So sometimes with this expectation laying ahead of them, so they sometimes will control their size of employment and the size of a production. So right now, since a lot of the profit have been given back to them, so they will have more positive expectations. Expectations actually is very important to guide the enterprises to plan how they're going to do the productions and employment in the future. But however, for the family sessions, that's will be a little bit different story. For the family sections, we're going to see that with a certain tax rebate, that's going to be absolutely a great news in the short term. So they're going to face more income in their pocket, but for the family, those income with those tax rebate were going to be very limited. Like if you earn like $1,000 US, you probably are looking at like $100 or $200 US back in your pocket. So that kind of pocket money wouldn't affect your total quality of life.
Right.
And since right now in China we have a lot of families that are facing the burdens of the mortgages. So since we have the theory in economics, we call it the debt debt vortex or debt hole. So whenever you get an extra income, the income will go into pay back the debt first and then go into the consumption. But government plan is to stimulate the consumption later. So we're going to need more of the ways to boost people's expectations for their continuing growing income in the future, but not just the tax rebate at right now.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Professor Chu Chang from Renmin University of China. Thank you very much for your insight. Now, talking more about the tax reforms in China, in the first 3 months since the tax cuts announcement, some 100 billion yuan, or nearly $15 billion worth of income taxes have been reduced nationwide. And Wang Mengzhen had a chat with an NPC deputy and taxpayers on the implementation of the latest income tax law.
A typical working day for migrant worker Zhu Qiang and his wife at the construction site in the Chinese capital. But at today's lunch break, the couple and their co-workers are digesting something new: China's latest income tax policies, and something important to everyone here. With the help of tax professionals, the workers learn to apply for tax deduction themselves using a new mobile app developed by China's tax authorities. And they've already seen changes in their recent paychecks.
My wife and I have seen our salaries go up by some 300 yuan monthly starting from this year, so we could spend more on our children's education and on healthcare for our parents.
Basically, the fresh income tax cuts include 3 major changes. The minimum taxable income has been raised to 5,000 yuan per month. The tax rates have been readapted, and the country has introduced for the first time ever what's called itemized deductions. The 6 items eligible for deductions cover 6 key aspects of everyday life, including expenses for children's education, continuing adult education, healthcare for serious illnesses, housing loans, housing rent, and support for the elderly. This is the 7th year accounting professor Lu Xin is serving as an NPC deputy, witnessing tax reforms over the years.
The latest reform is tremendous and is gradually approaching the international common practices. This is an important first step, as we have gradually built up the framework of the country's personal income taxation model.
At this year's 2 sessions, Professor Lu proposes further improvement measures.
This year, I'm raising a motion on one of the 6 deduction items. I think we also need to take taxpayer spouses into account when it comes to support for the elderly, and this could also be applied to the care for children. That's why I suggest we should gradually shift our income taxation from individual-based units to household-based.
This is the 7th amendment of China's income tax law and said to be the largest scale in more than 2 decades. With more business tax cuts on the way, insiders say it remains to be seen on how much it will help boost the country's consumption. Wang Mengzhen, CGTN, Beijing.